1984 is a novel by George Orwell full of a terrifying science fiction world ruled by manipulation of thought through media and propaganda, and the government's tight control. But this is nowhere close to our modern society, right? The media can't really have that much effect on us. But these are just simple tweets, right? "2020 was the year of constant headlines, but besides the coronavirus, something stood out. The former president Donald Trump's social media presence. But this wasn't the first time a president had been involved in social media. Former President Barack Obama was one of the first presidents to engage in social media, becoming involved with YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and even Snapchat. Social media became a main source of his political campaign, and ultimately might have helped him gain votes according to the journal published by Jennifer Aker and Victoria Chang that states, by November 2008, Obama had approximately 2.5 million Facebook supporters, outperforming Republican opponent John McCain by nearly 4 times. In terms of Twitter, Obama had over 115,000 followers, more than 23 times those of John McCain. The journal also argues that with emailing lists and text alerts, Obama ultimately mapped out a well-executed plan that influenced the 2008 election. While political use of social media may seem benign and just another way to communicate on a broad spectrum, like Roosevelt's fireside chats or another sort of door-to-door campaign, the effects of social media are actually a lot easier to manipulate. Just like Orwell's many warnings against misinformation and believing the media too rapidly, news sources started to pick up on how social media could be used to promote extremist groups and even be used by politicians to spread misinformation. But to understand the political aspect of misinformation, first we need to understand how information spreads through social media. Though there are some restrictions as to what can be posted on most social platforms, social media is still a place that pretty much anyone can post pretty much anything on, and this includes everything from daily status updates to organizing public protests to spreading lies and disinformation. Social media outlets also have one thing in common: the algorithms used to keep their users interested. These algorithms use machine learning to recognize patterns in what a user views, feeding them more and more information they are likely to react with, keeping them engaged, and helping the media outlet by keeping users active on the site. Algorithms may seem like no big deal, but if you really think about it, if someone is scrolling through Facebook or another social media outlet and likes a post that is related to a specific idea, the algorithm of the site is going to recognize that and feed that person more and more information about that particular topic, whether it is even true or not, leading that person to potentially develop new and extreme views on a subject, even if they are not particularly educated on it, just because of a post on a social media website. This becomes particularly dangerous when the subject at stake isn't just a prank view or a cat video, but is something that could influence a person's political ideology. Algorithms also lead to a high increase in the spread of disinformation. The journal Science explains that in a study conducted from 2006 to 2017, the study showed that falsehood diffused significantly further, faster, deeper, and more broadly than the truth in all categories of information, and the effects were more pronounced for false political news than for false news about terrorism, natural disasters, science, urban legends, or financial information. The journal also explains that misinformation spreads more rapidly than the truth because of the shock value that comes with most rumors and lies. This shock value leads to more reactions to posts, spreading them further and further, creating more and more disinformation with every click. SSRN also reported in a recent study that, when it aligns with their beliefs, 56% of Facebook users can't recognize fake news. This is a shocking amount of consumers on social media and shows just how powerful algorithms can be at filtering information to people with specific views and beliefs. So, how does all of this fit into a political campaign? The effects of bringing politics online become clear with the controversy of former President Donald Trump's tweets. The Trump Twitter archive contains a list of the most popular tweets from Donald Trump's personal Twitter account during his time in office. And out of the 10 of his most liked and retweeted posts, 4 contain disinformation concerning the 2020 election. His top misleading tweet reads, "I won this election by a lot," in all caps with an exclamation point. And while this tweet may seem harmless, extreme supporters often took his tweets to action. At the article published by the New York Times, writer Shira Frankel states, at 2:24 p.m., after Mr. Trump tweeted that Mr. Pence didn't have the courage to do what should have been done, dozens of messages on Gab called for those inside the Capitol building to hunt down the vice president. In videos uploaded to the channel, protesters could be heard chanting, "Where is Pence?" This is referring to the insurrection at the Capitol on January 6, 2021. Social media outlets that have attracted extremist political standpoints such as Parler, Telegram, Meebee, Reddit, and Gab have become spaces for political extremists to plan events on both far left and far right sides. Both political party extremist sides have convened on sites about violence and even led to events like the January 6th insurrection at the Capitol. No matter what your political views are, we should all be able to agree that what we consume on social media can and will have an influence on our opinions and thoughts. Just like in the novel 1984, the modern world of technology is showing just how persuaded humans really can be, and how even a single click can spread misinformation across many platforms where it can and will be believed. But unlike the defeat of the party in 1984, there is some hope in defeating misinformation surrounding politics on social media. One way to individually combat dis and misinformation is to make sure the outlets you view are credible, and if you are on social media, make sure to take the proper precautions when believing a post as fact. Do your own research when it comes to making your own opinions, and if you see a post that is blatantly false and you have the research to back up that it is misinformation, most social media outlets have features that allow you to report or flag posts. On a broader scale, many social media sites are attempting to scour out misinformation, especially spread by political figures or extremist groups. This process is going to take time, but by banning accounts and making software that flags potentially harmful posts, social media is slowly evolving into a safer community. Though this is going to take the public interest to fuel these large communities to make changes. NBC News reported that in Q2 of 2020, Facebook removed 7 million posts that contained fake news. This is at least a good start, but there is still so much misinformation being circulated throughout social media. To learn more about how you can help, visit resources like How Americans Can Help Stop Fake News by USC News and Tools That Fight Disinformation Online by RAND, a campaign focused on stopping the spread of disinformation online.